welcome back. I am Lindsay and this is Dishwater Dreams. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm going to be telling you about my favorite brushes, the ones that I use on a regular, everyday basis for my full face of makeup. And I'm just going to go in the order that I use them. And then I might mention a couple that I use for specialty things on those days when I use them. So the very first thing that I do is I put on my foundation, and the brush that I use all the time is this one for my liquid foundation, and this is a Real Techniques buffing brush. I find that this gives me a really great look for my foundation. I just dot it on, buff it in, and I'm good to go. For my concealer, I put it on and then I use this brush by Jerry G, which I got in a wantable box that has a nice little angle to it. I'm not really sure what the name of the brush is. It doesn't say on there, but there aren't that many brushes on Jerry G's site, so this is really great because it just gets right in there underneath my eye and really blends everything out really wonderfully nicely. Then to set my foundation, when I'm using a powder, I usually use an HD powder or just a regular colored powder. I pretty much always use this brush. This is a Sonia Kashuk powder brush. I did get this in a specialty set, but they do have the powder brush where you don't have to have this design on it. So really, really love that Sonia Kashuk brush. For my under eyes, to set them, when I use my powder, I use a Real Techniques setting brush. I like this because it's very small and it has this kind of angled up to the center tip, so it makes it very, very easy to apply that under eye setting powder. And I usually put a little bit on my lids too because my eyelids get fairly oily, and that helps to control the oil a bit. Then moving on to face color stuff, the next thing that I do is put on my bronzer, and I use two different brushes to put my bronzer on. The first brush that I use is a Sonia Kashuk brush, and this is just a flat brush. Again, this came from this set that I bought, this specialty set, but I think you can still buy these separately. And I use this to contour on my cheekbone, go down my nose, and then right here. And then I use a Sephora Pro Contour Blush Contour number 74, which is a sort of small blush brush, and I kind of buff out that hard line if I don't want the hard line that day. And I use this for my jawline and then for my hairline up here for contouring. Then for blush, I pretty much stick almost always to, again, from that Sonia Kashuk collection. I have loved every single brush that I've ever gotten of hers. They are well worth it. And this is just her standard blush brush. And I like this because it's kind of a medium-sized blush brush. It's not too small and it's not too big. And so when I turn it on its side, it's a little bit flatter, and it makes it very easy for me to make a great line, or then to kind of blend that out a little bit. So I love this brush. If I am using a cream blush, I'm not using a powder brush, which I don't do all that often, I use my e.l.f. small stipple brush, which this is one that's just $3 that you can get at Target or Walgreens or anything. Mine is actually broken, so I need to get another one. But this works absolutely fantastic for blending in any cream products. If it's cream blush or cream highlighter, this works great. There's no need to buy a more expensive one because this works just as well as any of the other ones that I have tried. Then for my highlight, I use a Real Techniques contour brush, which is this sort of very small domed brush, and I use that to do my highlight here, down my nose, kind of right up here, and then I don't do any kind of highlight on my chin because my chin does tend to get a little bit oily. So those are all the face brushes that I use just regular everyday basis. They stay on top of my vanity, and those are the ones that I use every day. If I'm doing something special, I might grab for a different brush, but those are the ones that I always use. And you can see from my eye brush here, I do have quite a few. I don't have as many as a lot of people do. Just because brushes are sort of the last thing that I tend to buy when I go to buy makeup, and I kind of already have my favorites. I know what it is that I want to use each and every day. So I will just tell you the brushes that I use regularly every day, and then a couple that I use when I'm doing a little bit more of a dramatic look. So I generally always do my transition color first, and I use a Kat Von D blending brush to do that. It's very, very soft, and I put that lighter transition color in, in and a little bit above my crease with that. Then for the outer V and deepening up the crease, I use a base shadow brush from Real Techniques. I like this one for that because it does kind of come up angled on each side to a little point at the top, and very, very soft, so it makes it very easy to kind of get that little outer corner look that I like and then blend it over to deepen it up. Then to apply a lighter colored shadow all over my lid, my absolute favorite brush is by Coastal Scents. It's this nice flat brush so you can just pack on the color. And this doesn't have a specific name. It's BRC-NO2. And I absolutely love this because it's the right density. You get a lot of payout for a little bit of color putting it on. I have some other ones that are less dense or larger or smaller, but I continually go back to this one because I just love it so much. Then for doing underneath my eyes, I actually have two brushes that I use, and they are almost identical. Almost completely identical. The Kat Von D smudge brush, which is a little bit slightly better than this one, which is the e.l.f. smudge brush, but this one is like $20 and this one is $1. So I generally use the Kat Von D smudge brush for anything that I do that's dark. That is what I used for the dark line on my lower lash line today, and then I usually use this one for anything light and my inner corner. If I want to do something a little bit smudgier than just a regular straight line, then I use a Sephora Pro Precision Smudge brush, which is just a pencil brush, and I'll use that to smudge things out. Other than that, I use, let's see, there's really just a couple more that I use on a regular everyday basis. For my brow bone, to do that lighter color up underneath that, I always use this Kat Von D eyeshadow brush. It's got a really nice angle to it, and it's just perfect for getting right up underneath my eyebrow and getting that shape really well and not really messing with the color that's in my brows or making it go everywhere. For gel liner, I am actually really impressed with the brush that came with the L'Oreal, what is this called? The L'Oreal Lacquer Liner from the Infallible line. If you buy the little pot of the gel liner, which I love this one, it comes with a really nice brush, and this is the brush that I usually use to put on gel liner when I use gel liner. And then the last brush that I am going to tell you about in my favorites is the one that I use for my eyebrows when I use a regular just powder brow. I'm not using a pencil or anything like that. And that is my Too Faced brush. I believe this one came in a set as well, but this is a very nice defined angled brush. The bristles are stiff but not overly stiff, and it just really makes it so that I can get a great line on my brows without going over my brow, without making them bigger, just sort of really defining them, and I think it works really well. I generally use this with a Too Faced or an Anastasia brow product. So those are all of my favorite brushes. If you have any recommendations for me, or you want to know more about any of these brushes, just leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!